they explode. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Hello. Been a while since I streamed last time. Uh, Simple answer to that. I just did not feel like it. But now I'm back, and I will try and stream more. More often. Uh, I did miss my anniversary for 1 year of streaming, so I was thinking maybe I should take a look at some clips and maybe reminisce over the year, or reminisce, or whatever you, or however you pronounce it. Reminisce, reminisce, reminisce. So, see if I remember my settings here. That should show up, yeah. So, we are gonna go to my clips page. And just take a look at the clips. Where do I go? Oh yeah, here. Gonna be annoying having my own stream in the background there. Maybe there's a better way. Maybe if I go to creator dashboard. I hope I don't show anything dumb here. I'll block that for now until I get to my clips page. All right. Maybe I should go with the desktop. Should probably add my webcam to this page. Let's see here. Fuck. Which one is it? I should probably have prepared this a little bit better before I went live. There we go. Oh shit. There we go. Pop that in the corner there. See how that looks. Maybe I should drag that over there, maybe. Fuck am I doing? Been 3 months, I think. Maybe 4 months. Gonna lower the music there a bit while I look at this, and yeah. So here we have a clip from one of my first streams. As you can see, I don't have a webcam, no microphone, and I'm playing Minecraft. And I remember there was a lot of chaos in this all of a sudden, as you can see here. Like all of a sudden there's enemies everywhere. I'm just panicking and boom! And I laughed here. That's why I look up and down. And in this mine I made here, there's actually a layer of in the ceiling is one block layer, and there's a bunch of holes, and it's completely dark, so it's basically an enemy spawner. And this right here is my mine shaft, and of course the creeper there. Let's see who is the culprit. Is it the same creeper, maybe? Yeah, it seems like. Yep. And boom. And yeah, that was my first clip. I have no idea how that looked on stream. Seems alright. So, for my next trick, and here I was playing Diablo. I was using the mod called Beelzebub, which is sort of like a combination of Diablo and the Hellfire expansion. It also adds a couple of new things like town waypoints. And yeah, it kind of sort of unlocks the base game, which is cool.
Angels and man alike have been cut down to fulfill his endless sacrifices
Just timing.
to the dark ones who scream for one thing.
Scream for one thing. Kind of ruined my my dialogue there by standing in fire. And this might be... yeah. I think this is one of the first streams I did with a webcam on. And this was last year in... when was it? Just as last year. Does it say anything else? August, okay. So it was almost October. One of my first streams with a webcam. I was playing during nights, I think. Yeah, early morning. So this was like 2 or something in the morning. So it's dark outside. And of course I played Witch Hunt here. Scary game, very good. The developer came out with sort of a follow-up to this game, which I bought recently, so I'm gonna do a playthrough of that eventually. It's still in early access, but maybe I'll check it out before it's done. Although I do kind of wish it was done before I actually started it. So anyway, this is Werewolf Hunt. Hang on. I think I need to pause the music here for a bit. Where is he? Whoa! That's when I turn around and basic instinct of pulling the trigger, basically. Like you keep hearing the heart rate increasing as the closer the enemy or the boss is, and you can't quite tell where he comes from. It's kind of hard to hear the footsteps or the paw steps. in this case. So where is he coming from? Left, right, up, down, where? And of course he's behind me. Oh man, look at my face there. That's a face of fear. Face of fear. Oh man. Perfect. So I turn around, and in my peripheral vision, I just see the werewolf there and the twitch click on my trigger.
Whoa!
See how fast that was?
Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Kind of fast. I got a really, really lucky shot on the boss there, so he ran away. But man, that was a good scare, a really good scare. So next clip. Oh yeah, me playing Clive Barker's Undying here, which is a really good game, by the way. Also a scary game. And here I think, I play during daytime here, so games are less scary when you do that, but Undying will pretty much always get you at some point anyway, so... But that's just what good games do. I have no idea what the hell I said there. Uska! I have no idea. I just went for it. But man, that got me. That got me really hard. Rock hard. Uska! I have no idea what I said, but there it is. And here's one of my more cringy clips. And not really sure why I saved this clip. I just felt I needed a clip per stream or something, so I just went for it. So I missed. No, here it goes. Oh, I missed. Wait, what? Oh yeah. First I missed, then I hit, and then I was gonna shoot the last one, but he went outside the bounds of the map, so that means they flee or retreat from the map or the battlefield. So just when I was about to shoot him here, well, hence the name of the clip, Hit, Miss and F. So that was one of my more cringy clips. And here we have the so I was playing the long drive in the middle of the dark, which is why you can barely see me here. You can see the lamp or the light from my headset. And I was like, oh, you can sit on the toilet. And then I remembered, oh yeah, you can press B. B makes you fart or burp in this game. So I sat down, pressed B, and I did not expect the following at all. shit. And that oh shit at the end there was because I had a glass right here filled with soda. And I did not notice that I spilled the glass all over the keyboard when I was laughing. Because I was laughing so fucking much. I haven't had that kind of laugh in a long time. That was, oh man. It was so fucking unexpected. Like a small fart, yeah, that's funny. Unleash hell, now that's, woo, that's so fucking funny that, oh man. It's my most watched clip, but it's mostly me watching the clip because every time I feel down, I go here and I watch the clip and I just feel good again because it is so funny. It is so fucking funny. And you can barely see what I'm doing here because it's dark, but you can sort of follow the light on my headset here. Like I'm basically leaning down like that or something. And man, that was so fucking funny. I'm gonna mute the clip here. And we're gonna see soon here. Oh yeah, here we go. When it starts to flicker here, there. This is when the liquid in the keyboard starts to hitting all the keys in the keyboard, because the keyboard doesn't know what to do when all keys are triggered by the shortcuts or the short circuits or whatever the fuck it's called. I did not notice this either. In fact, I think I continued to play on for about 40 or so minutes before I realized, oh shit, I need to clean this keyboard right now before it's ruined. And I'm still using the keyboard today, so obviously it's not ruined. But man, that clip was so fucking funny. Like, oh man, it was so fucking funny. I wish I could laugh like that at least once a year. That would be so fucking good. Because it was so fucking funny. And of course, I got a couple of more clips from The Long Drive. Just an absolutely hilarious game. And I was sitting in my car here. I was listening to the radio. And I started to talk about sex robots. I mean, first it's funny. But when he says flying sex robots and flying sex robots you can have sex with, that just made me lose it again. Or at least for a moment here. Man, the first 3 hours of this game has been some of the most funny things I have ever played, I think. The only thing that could probably compete with The Long Drive's first 3 hours is some PSX game I played in 96, 97, 98, something like that. It's about some kind of Japanese businessman who has a lot of things happening to him in a very chaotic way. I only played a demo of it, but I remember when he fell onto the hospital bed and just flew around the fucking corridor in that level, which probably was a hospital level. And not really sure what the game is called, but that was also fucking hilarious. But yeah, let's continue with more clips. I'm just gonna test here. I'm just gonna test here. Okay, good. Just making sure the microphone is on, because one of my streams have been playing a game for 7 hours, and then I realized the microphone is off, so that kind of sucked. Anyway, I was just looking at this car here, and maybe some other things, and all of a sudden I see in my peripheral oh man, I'm so fucking childish. The B for burping. And the game was just filled with a whole bunch of those kind of things. Just funny game, really funny game. And here I found a secret. So in the house you start in, there's a chimney that you can jump down in. I'm not really sure if you can actually get out of it, but I found a gun in there. I mean, I really should have seen it coming, but oh man, that was so fucking funny. Oh man. So I start in a house, I go up to the ceiling or up on the roof, and I jump down the chimney. I find a gun, and I point it towards me, and oh man. And the best part is over here in the corner. I wonder... Oh fuck, maybe you can't see that. That would be a... Let's see here. Testing. Oh, you can barely see that. Fuck. That's a mistake. That means I need to move my webcam down a bit, down there. That should be fine. Testing. Yeah, that's much better. Maybe I should remove the watermark as well. Or hide it, since I... Damn! Kinda wish I had thought about that earlier, but no matter. So, up here in the corner, that's where I have my webcam. The muzzle flash. Oh man, it's so fucking good. Shit. There we go. Muzzle flash. Oh man. That was such a good fucking game. Funny. Next up we have... Let's see here, where was I? Oh yeah. Okay, that's when I was watching a Critical stream. And just to remind people on what kind of humor I have. So, by the way, this was the first time I streamed Valheim. So I was wearing my chainmail and my helmet there. And I thought it would be funny to have my headset on my helmet as well, which kind of worked pretty well. Man, that was a good one. Almost a perfect burp. And of course, a couple of hours later, What you saw there was a little bit of frustration. Maybe it wasn't a couple of hours, maybe it was 30 minutes or so, because I could not understand how you built stuff in this game. And because I thought the hammer was some kind of weapon or a repair tool or something. And that's when I realized I could build using the hammer. Of course, the fucking hammer. And as you can see here on my webcam there, I have the microphone the wrong way. The membranes go that way, and I had the microphone going with the membranes like that, so I did not have very good microphone sound for quite some time actually. Had several streams before I realized that, oh shit, I need to turn the microphone towards me. And usually this includes burps. And with that, I'm gonna take a small break. And with that, I'm gonna take a... Yep. Still funny. Still funny. Not as funny as the long drive clip, though. This is... Oh, yeah. The... Fuck, what is it called? Gods and Glory, I think. Panic playing that. Can't really say I've played the game since. Are these mines? Yes. I was just about to ask myself on stream, are these mines? And I just exploded. As I was saying it, it seems like it's a bit off sync there. Like if I go back. Are these mines? Yes. Because I asked it almost after I drove over it. But when I said it, I had just... I mean, I was kind of like, if this is mine, I was coming over it and I was asking it. Oh, fuck it. Screw it. Doesn't matter. Next clip. And slight... what's the word? Frustration. Fuck. No. Fuck. Let's see here. No. Okay. Yep. Kind of a cringy clip, but it's gonna stay there. Oh yeah. The danger of Death Knights in World of Warcraft. Not World of Warcraft. Warcraft 2. What else do we have here? I was playing on fast speed, or the fastest speed, game speed you can have. And then they died instantly. Very typical Death Knight stuff. One death coil will kill anything pretty much. If it targets 2, it will deal 50-50 damage-ish. Or if it's 3, it will deal 33% damage, I think, or something. It's very strong. And here I have some Die by the Sword. Like I shot. A very fun game. One of the goriest games ever made, still. And that was back in 1998. Ooh. No. And I just did a perfect decapitation right here. Ooh. It is so satisfying. Look at that. Ooh. Such a perfect decapitation. Like I shot the and not only can you do that, but if you remove the arm that holds the weapon, they can't do anything. And that's exactly what happened here. Ooh. Yes. Yes. Now this is what I'm talking about. This is so fucking awesome. Look at him. Look at him. Like he barely has any health here. The health bar is completely red. His arm is over there with the sword still attached to it. So he can't do anything. And yeah, you can just kill him after that. Oh, here we have a clip from my silent stream. And there it is, the reaction. I had just played Blade of Darkness, the original game, which recently was re-released, by the way. So I'm gonna do another playthrough of that on stream. I've already done a barbarian run, and the re-release is just, it's so fucking good. It's you can run it without problems, without yank, and it's fucking awesome. I love it. Anyway, I had just played maybe 6 hours and 40 minutes of this game, and I realized that my microphone was off. So that sucked. Let's see, what do we have here? Oh yeah, just a weird timing.
That felt good. That felt good.
I didn't know fireballs could bounce off the enemies like that, but apparently it can. So yeah. And here's another jump scare. Fuck this. And I don't know why, but there seems to be some kind of delay with the camera and the game. I don't know why, but it should be synced. I don't know how it happens, but man, that scared me. Like, I had to readjust my microphone and everything. The shit out of me. Oh. Just gonna watch it again. Like, what the hell is that reaction? What is that reaction? Like, look at me. Like, I have never reacted like that to a jump scare before, ever. And all of a sudden I had that fucking... scared the shit out of me. Man, that was such a weird experience, I suppose. So next up, what is this? Oh, that was a Forza stream, so not mine. Classic quote. Kind of where I got my streaming announcements comments.
I live again.
So this clip is from a Sunday stream or Saturday stream maybe. I usually don't have my microphone or my cam on during weekends. It's a bit more chill that way, and it's only gameplay. But yeah, once more.
I live again.
So yeah, that's where I have my announcement quote from. No, that's a Soda Puppin stream. And here I was playing Divinity. That's right. So one of the reasons reasons I don't like turn-based games is because of things like this. As you can see, I'm not doing anything. Wait, it stops. Okay. But yeah, I kind of sat like that for 5 or 6 minutes. And I pretended to look at my watch just to show that I'm kind of bored with turn-based games. But I still had a lot of fun with that particular game though. But I generally don't like turn-based games. And here's one of the best early access games right now. Oh! Oh, the fucking hand flew away. Yep. Oh, so good. It's like it's a medieval fighter, and not many of those. So that's gonna be interesting. The more content they add, of course. We have another clip here before I move on to the next game, I think. Shit. Ooh, that was... I clipped that because I thought it was such a nice feeling to have so much action going on. And yeah, I just enjoyed that. Let's see here. Next game. Oh, this is the same game, but an interesting clip. Ooh. A low 5. Nice. I wonder if they are gonna add more dismemberment options or things that can happen, like feet and legs and eyebrows or something. I don't fucking know. And that's starting to end my clips here. Or perhaps that is all my clips. Yep. So, going back to my usual media here. And not really sure how long I'm gonna stream today. It's gonna be like a shorter to ease myself into streaming again. Soon I might actually also stream outside in my backyard and maybe have like 2 streams, one earlier during my days and one that starts at noon. That way I can have some training or workouts in the during the day. And yeah, that is coming soon, TM. So what else can I do? Fascinating Horror just recently released a new video, so maybe I'll check that out. Or if I should not take that risk, maybe. I don't know. A lot of people seem to be able to watch clips and stuff and the videos on YouTube. So I kind of hope it's gonna be okay. It's a bit windy outside. Annoying. Just gonna set this up here. Should be fine, I think. All right, time to watch.
On the 24th of December 1913, in the town of Calumet in Michigan, employees of a copper mining company were enjoying a Christmas party at a community hall.
So, something that I've realized about all of these videos that Fascinating Horror is releasing is that there's a lot of human error. Like, pretty much every time there's an accident, it's because someone wanted to make things cheap, or someone wanted to make shortcuts, or someone wanted to hide something. So let's find out what it's gonna be this time.
At some point in proceedings, a loud cry was heard. Fire! The crowd rushed to escape down a single narrow staircase, but there simply wasn't room for everyone to evacuate at once. In the panic...
And now that's common from his videos here. It's gonna end up in a crush, which means a lot of people trying to get out at the same time, and the front row is falling down because of the pressure behind them, and then everybody's walking over, and then all of a sudden people are not gonna be able to get out. So yeah.
In confusion which followed, many of those in attendance would lose their lives. 1913 was a tense year for the residents of Calumet. Many of them worked for the Calumet and Heckler Mining Company.
I'm just gonna lower my fan speed here. So that it doesn't overpower the sound for me.
A huge and very successful firm which specialized in the extraction and processing of copper ore from mines in the copper-rich Upper Peninsula of Michigan. In some ways, the Calumet and Heckler Mining Company was a very good employer. It provided housing and other facilities for its workers, including libraries, bathhouses, and leisure facilities such as bowling alleys and clubhouses. It started a voluntary fund to take care of ill and injured workers, and matched employee contributions to this fund, something that was almost unheard of at the time. Not only this, but it poured money into the local economy, funding the construction of schools and churches for the benefit of the entire community. This was all a good investment for the Calumet and Heckler Mining Company.
I always like pictures like these because everyone is placed in a certain order so that they all fit the frame equally. It's like a very what's the word? Fuck, I forgot the word, but everything is symmetrical. There we go, symmetrical.
Taking care of their workers to a standard much higher than any other mining company, they easily attracted the best workers. And these workers remained incredibly loyal to the company. At the same time, though, not everyone was happy with this arrangement. By providing everything for its employees, the Calumet and Heckler Mining Company exercised a massive degree of control over their lives. Since the mining company controlled the whole town, bad behaviour such as drunkenness or brawling could cost a worker their job, even when it happened outside of working hours.
Thank you. I'm a bit behind schedule when it comes to my anniversary, but since that was in August. Uh, but you know, better late than never, as I say.
Losing their job would also mean losing their home, their church, and their children's schooling. Not an ideal arrangement. Compounding this was the fact that the Calumet and Hecla Mining Company, like every other mining company, was resistant to the idea of a minimum wage and, by 1913, had
Nice. Thank you.
pushing some of its workers to work alone in dangerous conditions.
I should probably fix my streaming here, just so that I get the chat on the right side. Which will make it easier for me. There we go. I'm just sorting things out here. All right.
Attitudes to the Calumet and Hecla Mining Company among the workers were mixed. And so, when the Western Federation of Miners, a union of mine workers, called for a strike in July of 1913, it divided the town. Some workers were strongly in favour of a strike, while others very much wanted to go back to work. After some time, the National Guard was brought in. Although the strike was allowed to continue, those who wanted to work were able to do so under their protection. It wasn't an ideal solution, and tensions were certainly high, but it allowed the mine to continue functioning. For 5 long months, the strike dragged on. By the time Christmas rolled around, many of the strikers were hurting. With no money coming in, they couldn't afford to buy their children Christmas presents, and were badly in need of a morale boost. To provide just that, the Western Federation of Miners booked out the Italian Hall in Calumet, and laid on an evening of food, drink and entertainment for the striking workers. The Italian Hall was a sort of community centre for the town of Calumet. This 2-storey structure had a space for shops and a saloon on the ground floor, and a large meeting hall on the top floor. It was in this large hall that the party would take place, with more than 600 people, many of them children, congregating there over the course of the evening. Even to this day, nobody knows who shouted the word fire. But at some point in the night, this cry was heard, loud and clear. It cut through the music and the chatter, causing an instant panic. And no wonder. The Iroquois Theatre fire and its horrifying death toll was still fresh in the memories of many of those in attendance. Fearful of a similar tragedy, guests surged towards the only easily accessible exit, a narrow staircase that led down to the street outside.
So that previous theater, fresh in mind, he has another video on that, if you wanna see that as well.
Had they been more familiar with the building, they might have escaped using another route. There was an additional fire exit, but it wasn't clearly signposted, and had to be accessed through the kitchen. Several of the windows were also fitted with ladders to allow people to escape in an emergency, but these were of little use. The panicking partygoers simply didn't know the ladders were there. Some people survived by jumping from the windows, or by staying put in the hall despite the panic surrounding them. These were the lucky ones. Those who tried to escape via the main staircase were caught almost instantly in a deadly human crush.
Called it. I knew there was going to be a crush. It's almost always a crush whenever there's a panic or a hallway mentioned early in the video.
Passers-by outside were drawn by the shouts and screams of those trapped on the staircase, and arrived to find it jammed floor to ceiling with bodies, many of them children. Though they pulled out anyone they could, many were already beyond rescue. By the time it was realized that there was no fire, dozens had been crushed and suffocated. The panic...
Oh shit, there was no fire. That's That's a new one, I think. I'm gonna guess that whoever shouted fire maybe wanted to incite some form of panic, maybe. Just for the hell of it, or something.
Subsided in mere minutes, but the damage was already done. The dead were dragged out of the stairwell one by one and taken to the town hall, where they were lined up for identification. Every physician in town was brought to the scene to do the best they could to help the injured. In total, 73 people lost their lives, 59 of them children. It was one of the worst mining-related disasters ever to hit the region, and it happened above ground, mainly affecting the wives and children of mine workers. In the aftermath of the disaster, tensions were extremely high. The question arose, who was to blame? For days and weeks, rumours circulated.
Damn, these are all caskets. And you can see some of them are really short here. That sucks.
Some people thought that a drunk from the saloon below the hall was to blame, while many others were adamant that they had seen the man who shouted fire and that he had been wearing an anti-union pin. Suspicion fell on the Calumet and Hecla Mining Company itself, but also on a separate anti-union body known as the Citizens Alliance. So great was the ill feeling towards the Citizens Alliance, in fact, that the relatives of victims turned down $25,000 in aid raised by the organization, and the leader of the Western Federation of Miners openly accused them of being responsible for causing the disaster. In a development that highlights just how inflamed tensions were, this resulted in members of the Citizens Alliance shooting the leader of the Western Federation of Miners and forcing him, wounded and bleeding, onto a train out of the state. Elsewhere, there was an ongoing furore, as newspapers printed headlines calling the deaths murders. Accusations flew back and forth, with different papers printing wildly different stories and differing accounts of events. Ultimately, it was never found out who was responsible for that first deadly shout of fire. While most of those involved were convinced that it was related to the strike, there is also a small possibility that it was a genuine error, that someone at the gathering really thought there was a fire. That aside, it may have been intended as an ill-advised joke, or a way of causing some minor disruption.
Yeah,
the
see ya.
reason behind this senseless
Have a good
tragedy
one.
has been lost to history. In the shadow of such an enormous disaster, the strike didn't last much longer. In April of 1914 it came to an end, and the striking workers returned to the mine, with many of them having to tear up their Western Federation of Miners membership cards in front of mine bosses before they were allowed to do so. Although the strike didn't succeed, it also wasn't a complete loss, as it did pave the way for more successful unionization in the future. The Italian Hall remained standing, although it fell into disrepair after some time and was eventually demolished in 1984. One feature was retained, the doorway through which so many had tried to escape. It now forms part of a small park, a quiet and contemplative place which houses a memorial marked with the names of those who died. The Italian Hall disaster is one of several incidents which illustrate a principle that is commonly used even today: the idea that free speech does not extend to shouting fire in a crowded theatre. Whatever the intention of the person who did just this in December of 1913, the Italian Hall disaster is a vivid illustration of just how dangerous a panic can be.
So the previous fire was still fresh in the mind of those involved here. So someone must have triggered it on purpose. But as he said, there it could have been a real call for it. But I think it was more on purpose to incite some form of a panic there. Very good channel, this Fascinating Horror. I highly recommend it. He's got a whole bunch of mini documentaries about disasters. Really interesting to hear about all of these. And as you can see, I've seen all of these videos. Every single one of them. And there is so much human error. Usually there's a comment down on each of the videos that says safety is written in blood or something like that. See if I can find one, because it's usually written on every video. I mean, it's not wrong though, it's completely true. It's like antivirus programs. There's no antivirus program that will stop a new virus. You have to wait for an update that will stop the virus, basically. Do I have any other videos on my... No, just music. Or these videos that I'm not gonna react to. Oh, maybe Lazy Masquerade, actually. And not these, I don't think. See what that's about. Lazy Masquerade is one of the best narrators on YouTube, I think. Got a really good narrator voice. $18 minutes. I'm gonna skip the intro because that's just an ad. So I think I'll watch this video and then I'm gonna I might end it early. Just a short stream to ease myself into. And I'll
At around midnight on the evening of the 20th.
I'll play games tomorrow, I think. I'm probably gonna play Blade of Darkness, the re-release. I'm at the moment I'm doing a night playthrough, I think. If I saved it or not.
21st of August, 19...
I'm just gonna go back here.
At around midnight on the evening of the 21st of August, 1968, 29-year-old masonry worker Antonio Lobianco and 32-year-old Barbara Locci were driving through a small town about 7 miles west of Florence, Italy. Asleep in the back seat was Barbara's 6-year-old son, Natalino. But when a sharp jolt suddenly woke the boy up, he opened his eyes to a truly horrifying sight. The car he had been sleeping in had crashed, and behind a cracked and splintered windshield, Antonio and his mother, Barbara, lay slumped in their seats, both of them riddled with bullets that leaked fresh blood onto the upholstery. Natalino then descended into a state of shock, because, the way he describes it, he just ran, instinctually fleeing the scene to escape the mind-shattering trauma. Next thing he knew, it was almost 2 a.m, and he was 2 kilometers away, knocking at the home of a complete stranger. This stranger said that he was awoken by the sound of a small boy crying, "Open the door and let me in. I'm sleepy and my daddy is sick in bed. Then you have to drive me home, because my mother and my uncle are dead in their car." You see, Antonio Lobianco, the man who had been driving the car, wasn't Natalino's father. He was a paramour of his mother, Barbara, one of her many boyfriends. Barbara was a married woman, but was well known for having multiple love affairs throughout her marriage. Her husband, and Natalino's biological father, was a man named Stefano Mele. Naturally, Italian homicide detectives suspected Stefano of being the murderer, with jealousy being his motive, but a lack of evidence forced them to turn to some less than savoury means to obtain a conviction. When Natalino knocked on the stranger's door, he said that his father was sick in bed on the night of the murder, but now he was saying that his father was present at the scene. Now, it's entirely possible that Natalino changed the story on his own, but it's believed that the police coached him into saying this. Stefano himself had a hard
And that's very common, by the way, that the police will basically lead the witnesses into saying things that they kind of want to hear. And then they call that a witness testimony. At least that's what I've seen and heard throughout the years. Happens very often. Even more so back before 2020. Again, it happens often.
time proving this wasn't true.
Still
and a regional
happens.
prosecutor made such a strong case to a scandal-hungry jury that, in the end, Stefano was declared guilty and sentenced to 18 years in prison. It appeared to be an open and shut case, a classic example of a jealous lover's crime of passion. But 6 years into Stefano's sentence, the murder of another couple would exonerate him entirely. On the night of September 15th, 1974, 19-year-old bartender Pasquale Gentilcore had driven out to a quiet country lane near the small town of Borgo San Lorenzo, about 12 miles northeast of Florence. He was accompanied by his 18-year-old accountant girlfriend, Stefania Pettini. By all accounts, the two of them were very much in love, and often visited a popular discotheque known as Teen Club. Friends later said that they were usually jolly and carefree, but on the night of September 15th, the couple appeared to be extremely tense. When they were asked what was bothering them, Stefania told her friend that a few days prior, a strange man had followed her during a driving lesson. She had forgotten about it soon after, but had spotted that same man earlier that evening, almost as if he was stalking her. When asked what the man looked like, Stefania could only give a vague description, but added that there was something about this man that she found terrifying. The couple departed the teen club earlier than usual, before driving out to a quiet country lane. This particular roadway wasn't exactly uninhabited, as it was a stretch of road that was known by the locals as something of a lover's lane, a place where young couples could escape to in order to get some privacy and intimacy. Upon their arrival, Stefania and Pasquale found there were a handful of other cars lining the lane. Some of these other couples would later report that some strange men had visited the area on foot, but whether or not they were responsible for what followed is pure speculation. The fact of the matter is that the following morning, Stefania and Pasquale were found shot to death in their car. But it was the condition of Stefania's corpse that people found truly horrifying. After being shot, Stefania had been dragged from the vehicle before being mutilated with almost 100 separate stab wounds. Her killer seemed to have become lost in a frenzy, plunging the blade into her face, neck and chest over and over again before disemboweling her entirely. Once she had been mutilated beyond recognition, Stefania's killer violated her with a grapevine stalk, then left her body on display to be stumbled upon by some unfortunate member of the public, forever condemned to be haunted by that harrowing sight. The police quickly discovered that the gun used to execute both Stefania and Pasquale shared the exact same ballistic patterns as the one used to kill Antonio Lobianco and Barbara Locci, thus exonerating Stefano Mele. But one man's answered prayer became another man's problem, and to the Italian police, the prospect of a serial killer was most definitely not a welcome one. The killer had proven that he was brutally effective, but he also demonstrated a terrifying level of patience and discipline. It would be almost 7 years before he struck again, this time on June 6, 1981. 30-year-old warehouse worker Giovanni Foggi and his 21-year-old fiancée Carmela Danuccio would fall victim to the man who came to be known as Il Monstro di Firenze, the Monster of Florence. Much like their other murders, the killer targeted his victims late at night while they were alone in their car. He ambushed them with shots from his signature .22 pistol. Then, just as he had done with the previous female victim, he pulled her from the car and began to mutilate her. Only this time, the Monster of Florence began to experiment with a kind of calling card, a sign-off, just to let the police know they had a serial killer on their hands. He took out a notched knife, pulled up Carmela Danuccio's skirt, then cut out her pelvic region entirely before carrying it away as a terrifying trophy. the following morning, a man named Enzo Spalletti apparently started talking about the murders before the bodies had officially been discovered. And this was
He
all
did
it
it.
took for the Italian police to seek their second false conviction, with Enzo being jailed for 3 months before finally being cleared of suspicion. The monster of Florence had waited almost 7 long years to kill again, but it appears his bloodlust was only growing with age. Because, unlike his previous murders, which all seemed to fully sate whatever deprived desire drove him to kill, the murders of Giovanni Foggi and Carmela Danuccio didn't seem to quench his thirst for gore, and it took just a matter of months before he once again went on the hunt. 26-year-old labourer Stefano Boldi and his fiancée, Susanna Cambi, were due to be married in November of 1981. They never got the chance to exchange their vows though, as in October they were both shot and stabbed in the small Tuscan town of Calenzano. Much like before, Cambi's pelvic region had been severely mutilated, and the killer had evidently taken a large section of flesh as a trophy. The killer's next attack, in June of 1982, perhaps makes him more befitting of the name, the Tuscan Ripper, as, just like his Victorian forebearer, he was suddenly interrupted during one of his crimes, and as a result was robbed of his chance at carving out another trophy.
Yeah, it seems very similar to Jack the Ripper. Taking trophies from women specifically. Yeah. Weird.
Paolo Mainardi and Antonella Migliorini were so inseparable that they were nicknamed Vinaville by their friends, after an Italian brand of superglue. That moniker proved to be entirely prophetic, as they spent their final moments on this earth together, executed by shots from that same .22 while cuddling up in their car. But because the couple were parked up on a relatively busy stretch of road, the killer was interrupted by a Good Samaritan who stopped to see if the vehicle's owner needed some help. This prompted the killer to immediately flee the scene. Despite paramedics finding Paolo Mainardi alive at the scene, he sadly passed away while receiving treatment at a Florence hospital. The morning after the murder, an anonymous person phoned Susanna Cambi's mother and asked her to talk to her about her daughter. Obviously, the slaying of another couple was a harrowing and heartbreaking affair, but the mistake showed that the killer was getting sloppy, growing impatient. It seemed like only a matter of time before he made a mistake that would be his last. The monster of Florence would go on to murder 2 vacationing German artists, Wilhelm Friedrich Horst Meyer and Jens Uwe Rusch, as well as a young couple, Claudio Stefanacci and Pia Gilda Rottini. Rottini had been followed by a strange man hours before she was killed. When investigators arrived, they found her pelvic region, as well as her left breast, had been removed. The killer's final victims would prove to be a couple out camping in the woods, Jean-Michel Cravicilli and Nadine Moriot. Their bodies took so long to find that the killer sent a taunting note, along with a piece of his victim's flesh, to the state prosecutor, Silvia Della Monica, stating that a murder had taken place and challenging local authorities to find their bodies. But it seems this cry for attention was a bridge too far for the killer, who realized he was playing a dangerous game with the police and the media. The killing of the camping couple in September of 1985 would prove to be his final act of bloodshed, and for almost a decade, the case of the monster of Florence remained cold. With the advent of more advanced computer technology, as well as hundreds of tips from the general public, a man named Pietro Pacciani was put on trial for the murders in 1994. Pacciani had previously been convicted of both the carnal assault and murder of his 2 daughters, as well as for the 1951 murder of a man who had been cavorting with a former lover. After searching his home, police discovered an unfired .22 bullet in his back garden. It was the exact same variety used in the monster murders. Pacciani was found guilty following his trial, but was released from prison 2 years later, following an appeal which cited poor police work, as well as a lack of solid physical evidence. 2 more men, Mario Vanni and Giancarlo Lotti, were eventually convicted of the murders, and although they remain in prison to this day, their sentences have been widely criticized, and it's commonly believed that both men have been scapegoated for an unsolved crime. Years later, in 2001, the chief prosecutor on the case claimed that the murders were the work of a satanic cult who were allegedly operating in the greater area of Tuscany during the 70s and 80s. According to him, the victim's body parts were being used in an unholy blood ritual. This prosecutor had apparently discovered a villa in the area where Pacciani had been employed. The very same villa was home to a large, pyramidal stone, one that according to him was highly indicative of high-level cult activity. However, many have dismissed these claims as frankly laughable and insist the stone has no significance whatsoever. We've previously touched on how the Monster of Florence might be more suited to the name of the Tuscan Ripper, but perhaps another nickname is better suited.
I was just about to say, the Zodiac Killer.
Zodiac Killer. There are those who purport that the Monster of Florence and California's unmasked Zodiac Killer are in fact the very same person. Okay, so I know I'm releasing this video at a bit of a strange time, so hear me out.
Yeah, there's a lot of videos and articles about that.
Just a few days ago, a group of cold case investigators, known as the Case Breakers, announced that they had identified the Zodiac Killer based on several pieces of compelling physical and forensic evidence. The Zodiac, they claim, was a man named Gary Francis Post. And this had a lot of people convinced that the Zodiac had finally been unmasked, especially since one of the Zodiac ciphers was recently decrypted. However, both the FBI and officials in California have shot down this claim and said that Gary Francis Post isn't a suspect in the Zodiac case. According to local authorities in San Francisco, the Casebreakers' evidence is circumstantial at best, and the case officially remains unsolved. So, with that in mind, what's this alleged connection between the Zodiac and the Monster of Florence? Well, in 2018, a trio of Italian news publications introduced the public to a man named Joe Bevilacqua. Born in the state of New Jersey on December 20th of 1935, Bevilacqua spent 20 years in the US Army before moving to Florence in 1974. It was there that he gained work at the Florence American Cemetery, a fitting form of employment for someone who allegedly already dealt with so much death. The theory's main proponent, Francesco Amicone, claimed that Bevilacqua had made a partial confession to him in September of 1997. He then corroborated the details of this confession and found that the Zodiac murders had ceased almost at the exact same time as the monsters began, and matched a proposed timeline of Bevilacqua leaving the US and emigrating to Italy. Bevilacqua was incensed by such an accusation and publicly threatened to sue Francesco Amicone if he didn't retract the allegations. Yet, unbelievably, Amicone refused to back down and seemed to challenge Bevilacqua on a number of supposed coincidences. The main being that Bevilacqua would have been an undercover CID agent assigned to an investigation in San Francisco at the time of the Zodiac murders in the late 60s and early 70s. Amicone also alleged that Bevilacqua would have had access to the case files of a double murder which occurred near Florence in 1968, where bullets and shell casings had been improperly stored. He went on to claim that Bevilacqua replaced the pieces of evidence with spent cartridges shot by the gun he would use in the monster's homicides, thus connecting his future crimes to those murders for which he already had an alibi. The accusations were so thoroughly well presented that Italian authorities actually approached Bevilacqua in late 2020, requesting he provide a DNA sample in order to clear his name. The results of any DNA tests haven't been revealed to the public, and that's if any test has taken place at all. But it seems a chillingly strong argument can be made to support the idea that the Zodiac murders lasted far longer and were more far-reaching than anyone could have anticipated. To this day, even though two men sit in prison, many believe the Monster of Florence has never been caught. It's entirely possible that the murders could simply be down to a sadistic Italian serial killer, one who quit while they were ahead, having no wider connection to other killers, let alone an underground network of devil worshippers. But, at the same time, we can't rule out the possibility that Il Mostro di Firenze and the Zodiac Killer were one and the same, and that a man was able to brutally murder and mutilate young couples across two different continents with complete and utter impunity. Scary to think about.
Yeah. Another interesting video by Lazy Masquerade. I highly recommend to subscribe to him. and watch all his videos. Interesting. I was basically thinking he was the Italian Zodiac or Italian Ripper about here in the video, but I didn't say anything until I got more video evidence. I mean, the possibility is absolutely there, but until it has been solved, it's gonna be a misery. Yeah. 1 hour 20 minutes for today's stream, and I think I'm gonna end it here. And yeah, a bit shorter stream, but I haven't streamed in like 3 months or more. So yeah, goodbye.